Hey guys, happy Tuesday. We're going to move on to page 2 of our packet about radicals, and that is when we're going to be adding and subtracting radicals. So adding and subtracting radicals is very similar to adding and subtracting when you have variables. So for example, if I wrote x plus 3x, the answer to this question would be 4x, right? So that x, I have one of them, I have 3 of them, so I have 4 of them. That same idea kind of applies. To be able to add and subtract radicals, you want this radicand, the number underneath the radicand needs to be the same. So when they're the same, the number that's in front is going to be added together. So when there is no number in front, it's going to be a 1. So this would be a 1 root 2 and a 3 root 2, which would be 4 root 2. And the same thing would happen with subtraction as well. So as long as they're the same, you just look at the number that's in front, and then you're going to add only those. Notice that the root 2 is part of the answer, so it just goes along just like a variable. So what happens when they're different? So I'm going to start moving down to like question number 9, so I'll do 9, 11, and 13. So number 9 is 2 root 6 minus 2 root 24. They're not the same, so I can't subtract them. Now, the square root of 24, I can simplify. So you want to make sure you simplify those radicals before you say that you can't subtract them at all. So let's see, let's take that number 24. We'll break it up into its prime factors. 4 and 6, 2, 2, 2, 3. So the square root of 24 would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Now I brought this 2 down because it was already in front. So it looks like I have one pair that's going to come out. And remember, when there's another number that's already there, it'll just multiply by that number. So I have a pair and only one came out, but there was a 2 already there that it's going to multiply by. So really, 4 root 6 is actually that 2 root 24 is actually 4 root 6. Okay, so now let's bring down this 2 root 6. What's 2 root 6 minus 4 root 6? Well, 2 minus 4 would be negative 2 root 6. You're going to keep that radicand. All right, moving on to number 11. All right, before I move on to number 11, I want to just pretend that this was not a 12. Let's just say it was a 2. If I can't simplify that radical, then this is actually the final answer. If you can't add them together, the whole thing is going to be the answer. It's kind of like saying negative y plus 3x, right? When they're not the same, we just left all of those variables, right? So when they are, so let me go back to this, turn it back into a 12. Okay, so let's take that 12 out. What's that? 4 times 3, which is 2 times 2. So this is actually 2 times 2 times 3. Notice there's a negative sign in front of it. So a double is going to come out of that radical. It comes out as a single 2, but there's a negative sign, so we're going to keep that negative sign in front of it. 2 root 3, and I'll bring down the 3 root 3. I have the same radicand, so now I can add them together. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1 root 3. You can write the 1. Usually you're not going to see that as part of the answer. It's understood. Similar to writing 1x versus just x. All right, number 12. And this time I'm actually going to pause it. So I decided to do number 12 because the answer is kind of tricky. So let's look at that final answer when we're finished. We do not have the same radicand. Can I simplify? I can. So let's simplify that 27. That would be 9 times 3. 9 is 3. So the square root of 27 is actually 3, 3, 3. One of those 3's will come out. So 3 root 3. So it's a minus sign is coming down. 3 root 3. Okay, so some of you may look at this and look at what the rule was that we were talking about before with the root 3. They're the same. So I'm just going to subtract. 3 minus 3 is 0 root 3. But look at this. Look at this work. It's 3 root 3. Take away 3 root 3. So 0 root 3 is actually just 0. The answer to number 12 is 0.